Okay, first things first, if this is your first ever startup, you can skip a little bit of this because I'm going to show you guys kind of what happens after you run your grill. So today we're going to be running the Kingsford applewood. I don't have time to go out and get some applewood, so I have this sitting around. It's not my favorite, but it will work. But first things we're going to do here is we're going to come down into the ash bin, and I've already sort of cleaned it out from the last cook, but you can see it's got some stuff in there. So I'm gonna let it run. I'm only doing a chicken today, so I'm not too worried about that, but typically you wanna try to empty this out first. Then I always go up here and shake this, and you'll see from the last cook I did, a lot of that old charcoal, I use a bunch of lump, come out. So that's just gonna get the cooking chamber in there, the chimney cleaned out so that it will catch fire, the new stuff. So obviously we got some lump in there. That will all burn, not too worried about that. Then we're gonna come up here and grab one of our fire starters. You just need a small square like this. They come in these big squares. You can break them down. All you need is a single square. So we're gonna take that single square, we're gonna dump it in here, and we're gonna try to get it as far back, kind of towards the center as possible. You can kind of see it in there. Then all we'll do, grab a lighter, go ahead and light that as best you can. Usually get the corners of it. Sometimes it takes a minute, but yeah, once you get it lit, you can let it go. So what I usually do is leave this door open, then I come up top and I open up the chimney, and of course I probably need to add, but you can see the smoke already coming through. So we'll go ahead and pour some of this in there while that's heating up, and we still have the slides in because I do that so that none of the ash gets pushed into the grill when you're lighting it up. So you'll start to see the smoke come up. I'll go ahead and pour the rest of this bag in there and we'll get going. Okay, so we've got a full hopper full of these briquettes. Now briquettes are typically going to last a little longer for a longer cook. Today we're just doing a chicken. Again, this is starting up quite quickly here. I haven't turned the grill on at all. It's still off. Still have my slides in, and I have my chimney open. That's just gonna create this nice air effect. It's gonna light that stuff pretty good. You wanna do this for about 3 to 4 minutes. Let this smoke and smolder, and then you can shut all that off, pull your slides, and start your grill. So we'll jump to that step here in 1 second. All right, guys, well, it's been about 3.5 minutes, and I have seen plenty of smoke come out of here, so I know that this is lit. But just to give you guys a perspective, you can see how much fire now is firing up into those coals. So now we can go ahead and shut the door. We can go ahead and shut the top door and lock that down. Make sure you got a good seal. Adjust this if you need to get that to seal better. Now we're gonna go ahead and pull slide number 1, pull slide number 2. Now we're gonna come over here. Now, if you haven't seen my video on add-ons, I recommend that solar battery charger, solar battery power system for your Masterbuilt. But I've already got that plugged in. Check out that video. I'll put a link at the top of the video. We'll go ahead and fire up our grill. And we will go ahead and set our temperature. You click the temperature button and you're gonna roll this up. Now, I usually roll it up to about 300 to start my grill. I know I'm gonna cook at 250 or so for my chicken, but this will be a much better fire ultimately once I start the grill at 300. So I've started the grill now. You'll hear the fan kick on. You'll hear the system start getting warmer and warmer, and we'll get going. All right, the fan is running, and you can now see all the smoke pouring out. And if you want to keep an eye just on the temperature and not see it rotate between time and temperature, you just need to roll this once. If you roll it too much, it'll actually give you, it's hard to see on my phone here, it'll give you here in this position, it'll say MP1, that's temperature probe 1, and then it will say MP2, and if you had 3 and 4, it would keep scrolling. So you're gonna wanna go to temp up here, and it's hard to see, temp, and that will give you the temp of the actual grill itself. I've got both of my probes out for right now, but we're running this. So again, this is gonna go up to 300. If it ever beeps at any time during this process, it basically means that you failed the startup process, meaning it was running for 10 minutes and it never saw a sizable temperature increase. So right now you can see we're still sitting at 68, starting to climb though. So this will climb up, probably takes about 15 minutes to get to temperature or less. As you're waiting for things to get to temperature, note that your slides can stack together, the small one in front of the big one, and they can be mounted right here on the front of your grill when you're cooking. Just a simple setup. Tuck my wires up there. All right, so we have now hit 305 degrees. I went ahead and turned the grill down. To do that, we just push the temp button again and we rotate it. So I want it set to 250 and the grill will start coming down. You can also artificially open the grill to get the temperature down inside. The reason you do this is the fire that starts is a much better fire, and then it allows the grill to come down to temperature and you get a much better smoke. What you don't want is super heavy black or white smoke coming out of the back of this. You can see here just a little bit of smoke coming out, and that's the type of smoke that you want coming from any smoker. You don't want a heavy, white, dirty, acrid looking smoke. You want a nice clean smoke. So we'll let it get down to temperature and then we'll go ahead and throw our meat on. And one thing I didn't mention, for those of you that want to impart more smoke flavor into your cook, the ash bin is a great spot for that. Now keep in mind, if you haven't done the ash bin modification, I've got that explained in my add-ons video, you'll definitely burn through wood more. But this, all you need to do is something like that. Throw in a few chunks of wood. You can use much bigger splits, obviously, if you want. You can throw wood inside the chamber as well. Just depends on what you're doing. I just had, like I said, a few chunks laying around left. Those are actually cherry. I think I have applewood in here. But this container mixed with briquettes and wood works very well too. Sometimes I find though that the smoke that it creates is a little more acrid, but it's just your mileage may vary. So I put them in the ash bin lately. Seems to work quite well. Okay guys, we are officially now below the 250 mark because the top has been opened, but I went ahead and threw my beer can chicken on. Of course, had a sip of beer before I threw it on. Beer can is in there. Don't judge me. Oh good, you can't see what it is. It's just some cheap Bud Light. But what I've done here is I've taken my grill grates and actually put one on the bottom, and there normally is one up here, but to do a chicken, it's nice to have that extra space. This is the 800. It doesn't have this fancy flip down grates, but it does allow you to set up 2 grates like this on a lower level. So if you can see how I've done that, it really does give you a nice cooking surface, and you want to stay off this bottom one because the heat is just a little hotter down there. So we'll go ahead and set that up. We've got our temperature probes here. We're going to go ahead and put those in the breasts of the chicken just to give us a sense of where we're at in the cook. I also have my Thermopen 1, which will allow me to probe the remainder of the chicken, legs and all, throughout the cook. But go ahead and clean up some of the excess here and get this guy all straightened out. And we'll close that. You guys can see that nice blue smoke coming off the smoker. Close it up, and now we wait. And that's it, guys. Setting up the Masterbuilt either 800 or 1050, same starting procedure. And I hope you guys have a great cook ahead. Thanks for watching. Don't forget to like and subscribe. We'll see you on the next one.